What is up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the Renegade Roundtable. I am Jeffrey Kirby. As you can see, I am riding solo tonight. Obviously, my two other co-hosts, Stone, is traveling for a signing for her book, Divine Discovery. So, congrats to you on that if you're watching this. And also, Caleb is at work. Life happens. Sometimes you just can't get out of work in time, and it's all good. Life happens. Being an adult does happen. What's up, Stone? I see you. So obviously, I'm gonna talk. I'm gonna go ahead. I'm gonna take this next hour to talk about what I saw in the Steelers versus Raiders loss in Week 2. Talk about some different things, and also a hypothetical that could be an interesting conversation for the Steelers down the line. And also, we're going to preview Week 3 as well. So, obviously, for those that are watching, make sure to share this, like, comment, all that. Send this to all your friends. And here we go. So, let's talk about the Steelers versus Raiders game. It was a game going in where, I'm going to be honest with myself, I fell into my own trap. What do I mean by that? I fell into my own trap, and I did this last Thursday as well, on last week's episode of Renegade Roundtable, where we also had Zach from, or Smitty from the Around the 412 podcast. He joined us, and we all discussed the Bills game and then previewed this game as well. And I was telling myself all summer, and I looked at that Raiders game, and I said, that's a trap game. It's a game that we should win. Going into that, you felt good, especially during that week. You come off a win against Buffalo, who, Josh Allen, I'll be honest, has not looked good. Jeff is L, the letter of the day. Yeah. Well, congratulations. Y'all are going 1-2, and Justin Fields is torching that defense. So how about that, buddy? But that's not why I'm here. Why I am here is to talk about also the L that we did take on Sunday, if that's what you are looking for. But yeah, going into that week, especially beating Buffalo, where Josh Allen really has not looked as good as we all anticipated. I was on a show where we talked about different my MVP votes and my predictions for the awards for that year or for this coming up season, and I'll be honest, I had Josh Allen as my he's killing my fantasy football. But are you talking about Justin Fields, Stone, or because I drafted him late into my draft because or are you talking about Josh Allen? Because I also, in one of my leagues, have Josh Allen, and yeah, it's not been good. But back to what I was saying is, it's a game that you should win. It's against, we also didn't realize going into the season that Las Vegas, I actually got it right for once, where Las Vegas actually looks good. They're physical on defense. Typically what we think of when you think of Raiders football. And then on top of that, Derek Carr is looking like his 2016 self again, where he went out that year where they went 12-4 and he looked phenomenal. He's looking like that Derek Carr again. But to get into that, Josh Allen, yep. And then, no, Hunter, go Steelers. How about that? But it's also concerning at the fact that you go into that game where it's interesting to look at it this way. Las Vegas beats Baltimore, so you're going into that week thinking, all right, cool. Everyone wanted, I think, Las Vegas to win that game because that puts Baltimore at a deficit in the division. And then, of course, we are looking at as they played Kansas City the following week. They're on an 0-2 start. That's not looking good for them in a lost cause kind of season. Obviously, that did not happen. But Derek Carr looked good. And you have Henry Ruggs. The main question going into that game was, how do you contain Waller? Because I don't think you can necessarily stop Waller. You can't lock him down, but you got to find a way to contain him. And I think overall, let me pull up the box score here for for that game. I should have had this more prepared. Let me pull it up here. But if I'm not mistaken, for the most part, we did a decently good job in containing him. And that's also without going into that game, without Devin Bush, who I thought was going to be huge into that. We are all even 1-1 in the division. We are fine. Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm not panicking. I'm not going to pull what some people are saying, oh, this is a lost cause season or whatever. But I do think that there are concerns. And I think we all realize that. We're going to discuss this. We're going to talk about it. Let's look. Darren Waller, if I can get this glare off of my phone, and as this just went away, so give me 1 second again. But yeah, Henry Ruggs. But if you look at it, you look at Henry Ruggs. If you look just at the box score of this game, and say, and you didn't watch, and you will say, damn, Henry Ruggs was the one that torched you guys. That's a little concerning. For 5 receptions for 113. And then on top of that, then you get Darren Waller, five catches for 65 yards. That's not. If you're talking about Darren Waller, one of the best tight ends in the NFL, and Hunter in a podcast kind of show that we were on earlier, I think it was last week. Hunter made a hot take, a very hot take, saying that Darren Waller could be the best tight end of football. Obviously, he's up there in that category with Travis Kelce himself and George Kittle. And George Kittle, I think, is slow. George Kittle has not been the George Kittle that we all expected and anticipated, which I'm going to get into a 49ers player later on if you can't tell by the title. But you look at that, and then Henry Ruggs, he has that 61-yard bomb for a touchdown, which was annoying. But again, that's one of the reasons why you draft someone like Henry Ruggs, someone that could beat you over the top. And that's what he did with that 4.2 speed that he has. That's how you use him. And if you're John Gruden, you got to find a way to do more of that with Henry Ruggs. And then let's not forget about Hunter Renfrow, who is that safety blanket too for Derek Carr. He had a decently good game too, 5 receptions for 57 yards. He averaged 11.4 yards per catch there. So and then you look at that and you're like, okay, you go into that game, like I said, without Hayden, your number one corner, and without Devin Bush. So now you're already at a deficit because you're putting Cam Sutton in a position where he has to be that cornerback one, and he's not used to that. He's not ready for that. And then in that game, you lose Tyson Alualu to that devastating injury. Hope that he's okay. What's up, Adam? Also, in that case, you're still with us, Stephon Tuitt. And then on top of that, you lose TJ Watt. That's not good to lose your best passer. And you saw over the course of the game that, yes, that is the reason why you go out and sign someone like Melvin Ingram. He's a veteran. I like the way that Keith Butler uses him. I like the way that he's able to move around. He's not just a pass rusher, but he can move all around, and it confuses players, and it puts Melvin Ingram in a better position to make a play. And then on top of that, you get Alex Highsmith now, who's dealing with a groin where he did not practice today as well. So the defense right now, in a comparison, looked like the Steel Curtain 0.2 instead of the Steel Curtain 2.0 against Derek Carr, who, like I said again, who, good Lord, we did not anticipate this Derek Carr coming out. But let's get into the offensive side, because that's where I have a lot to say. Nick says Jimmy G would die 2 quarters behind the offensive line, LOL. And then Kirby's obsession with Renfrow. Now, I don't have an obsession with Hunter Renfrow. If there's any obsession that you would have thought I had, it would have been with Derek Carr. But I'll explain my thinking with Jimmy Garoppolo later on. But let's talk about this offense. One thing that we noticed as well, the blocking was not good. We all know that. There are certain videos that we've seen of protection just breaking down like crazy. And I didn't have it prepared. I should have. I wanted to show you guys. There was a certain play. Bro, your highlight video was hyping up all Renfrow. Hey, Hunter Renfrow, he's a guy that Derek Carr likes, and Hunter Renfrow was making key plays. I mean, I had to call it how it was. But again, Las Vegas they were the more physical team. They showed that from the jump. They were going to be the more physical team. And you have guys like Max Crosby, who has looked phenomenal in the first 2 weeks. Then you guys still have guys like you have Carl Nassib on that defensive line, Jonathan Hankins on that defensive line, not offensive line. And then on top of that, they have Casey Hayward in that secondary, who I thought was very underrated in the NFL, especially with his time with the Chargers. I always thought he was very underrated. And then I believe it's Jonathan Abram at safety as well. So they have some guys on defense. But one thing that I noticed with the offensive line is there was a lot of technical stuff, a lot of fundamental stuff that I saw wrong with the offensive line. And I want to say this. I'm a 22-year-old man who played high school football. If I'm able to really just sit down and pick apart a lot of what's going on, then what the hell is the offensive line coach? Because what the hell is going on with that? Because there were a lot of things that I saw wrong, especially a lot with Chucks, a lot with Kevin Dotson as well. I saw a lot of Kevin Dotson. He was, that inside foot he was getting bullied. I saw Chucks. He was just missing out on blocks. I'm just sitting here like, what the hell is going on here? That right side of the offensive line I know obviously Dotson's left side, and then you have Trey Turner on that, which don't get me. Let me sit here for a second and talk to Trey Turner for a second. I don't care if he spit at you first, because there were rumors saying that whoever it was spit at Trey Turner first. We understand from what we've heard is that Trey Turner is a very kind of mellow guy. And for him to react like that had to have been something crazy. I don't, you do not, especially when you're in a position where you're losing the football game and you know your offensive line is bad and you are you are the veteran on that offensive line. You do not go and get yourself ejected. And then he kept on going as he was getting ejected. At the point, I'm sitting here at the place that I was watching the game at, I'm looking at us and dude, you're going to continue on, and you are possibly going to get suspended because you just keep on going and going and going. Why? You got ejected. You made your point clear. Get the hell in the locker room. You already put your team in more of a deficit than you already are. It's trade for Taylor Decker, draft off the line, go after Garoppolo / etc., and then boom. Hunter, I think sometimes, and I know you saw this on Twitter as well, and I think regardless of I believe with Hunter, with the way me and him are, I think I could trust, he would know that I would be thinking that regardless. And Hunter says, why didn't the other guy get in trouble though? I don't know. Which I'm wondering if it was because we could see Trey Turner, I believe, spitting on someone, and that's another thing too we need to talk about. We are still in a pandemic. I understand that there was 60, 70 some thousand players at Heinz Field. It was beautiful and all that. We're still in a pandemic. I don't care if you're fully vaccinated or not. That doesn't matter. You still don't do that in a pandemic. How idiotic can you be? Thank you. I mean, and regardless, if he spit, so say for an example, I forget who it was for Las Vegas. Say they do spit at Trey Turner first. Does that make you think it's okay to do it back? Especially, again, and I'm prefacing this for the third time or fourth time, we're still in a pandemic. How dumb can you be? But you are willing to give up that much if he is that old. I legitimately think you could possibly get Rodgers after this season. That's an interesting thought. And I wasn't talking about Rodgers. I was talking about Taylor Decker with you. Especially because he's an Ohio State boy. But that Ohio State part, that's irrelevant. There's things that definitely need to be cleaned up. And I hope that this game, for the offensive line, for just the team in general, I hope this was a slap in the face. Because this was a game you were supposed to go in, you were supposed to win. And you got your ass kicked. Well, look at it this way. You lost, 20-something? What was the final score? 26-17. It's a 2-possession loss. I don't care. It still looked like you got your ass kicked. You got outplayed. You were out-assed, pretty much. Now, it is becoming very hard at times to watch this offense. And what I mean by that is it's hard at the fact that, and I want to show you a graphic here. These are, and for those that most of you guys have probably seen this already, but for those that haven't, here's a graphic that I want to show you. What do you notice in this graphic? There is not many passes over the middle. And again, it's a situation of becoming very predictable. And I'm starting to wonder a little bit how much on the same page is Matt Canada and Ben Roethlisberger. I'm interested in the conversation that those two have behind the scenes in that quarterback room. I want to know what those conversations are like. I want to know how Ben Roethlisberger is truly feeling. Predictable. I mean, let's look at it this way. I don't know if you're coming at me crazy with that. You can't really run the football. It was nice to see some deep passes. It was nice to. I did like that. I like the fact that they were able to throw downfield. Matt Canada is brand new. He's young. New offensive line isn't protecting him. Here's the thing, though, and you know me. I've been coming crazy. Oh yeah, I'm coming at you crazy. That's what I figured. And yes, I've been the one preaching that the offensive line has been hell, and that was going to be an issue. There's another team, and again, I'm not comparing. Well, actually, in a way, I am comparing situations with how teams handled it. We knew going into this offseason, or the offseason, 2021 offseason, you just lost Pouncey to retirement. You were already gone with Ramon Foster. He's gone. You just let Alejandro Villanueva go. David Castro got released. So you're looking at that offensive line. It is hell. You know who was another team that had a hellacious offensive line and let a lot of players go? Was Kansas City. Kansas City, coming, and we saw that in the Super Bowl where their offensive line was not looking good. They lost a bunch of pieces. But you know what they did? They made it a priority. They went out in free agency, got some guys, drafted Creed Humphrey, who I love. I believe they drafted Creed Humphrey, if I'm not mistaken, or am I stupid? But regardless or not, they went out and made it a priority. And again, they made that a priority in terms of how to protect Patrick Mahomes and how to make that offense go like the way it goes. Old turn still is Big Al. You're damn right. But, and again, one thing that I did not like that Kevin Colbert and the Pittsburgh Steelers did with this draft is they looked at it as how to fix the run game is drafting a running back. No. I'm in the firm belief that if you want to really have your offensive line go, or if you want to have your offense go, if you want to get the run game going, build on the offensive line. And here's a stat that I want to talk about too that goes into offensive line as well. And I want to ask the typical question, or keep this in the back of your mind, all right? So the highest pressure rate the top 5 pressure rate for quarterbacks. Zach Wilson, who also just lost Mekhi Becton, their last year's first-round pick. Jameis Winston, Teddy Bridgewater, Carson Wentz, Ben Roethlisberger. Now, here are the lowest percents. Number 1, Tom Brady at 10%. Jimmy Garoppolo at number 2 at 11.7. Matthew Stafford, number 3 at 11.9. And Dak Prescott. Look at that. I just mentioned those top 4. Brady, Garoppolo, Stafford, Prescott. What do all those teams have in common? Good offensive lines. It isn't going to happen overnight. I understand that. And again, you, of all people, know that I've been saying that it's going to take time. And it's going to take more time than people want. I think, all in all, and I'm going to admit this as well, and I think I can speak for a lot of fans. The situation that we're in with this offense is the main issue is the offensive line. In a position where it's going to take time to gel. In a time where we don't have time because we're trying to get in win now mode. This is most likely Big Ben's final year. We want to try to have as much success because as much as we trust Kevin Colbert in the front office to draft another quarterback, it's hard to get away from a Hall of Fame quarterback where you drafted 11th from a MAC school, Miami of Ohio, to find another quarterback. It's very hard to have a situation like how Green Bay, they had Brett Favre, Hall of Fame quarterback. And then on top of that, to draft Aaron Rodgers, another Hall of Fame quarterback. That's my thing is, I really think it's hard. It's hard to find that guy at quarterback. You've been talking crazy, LOL. You can see the talent they have. It's just we need time to mesh and become something. People just want it to happen right now because Ben is here and it's not going to happen. Exactly. I do agree with that. We're in a time where we need this offense to gel now. We need the offensive line to go now. We need to this offense needs to go because this defense is great when they stay healthy. When TJ Watt's on the field, this defense is going to be fine and we have a legit shot. However, it still doesn't take the fact that it's still kind of annoying at the fact that let me pull this back. Let me get back to my full self. Jeff, do you see us trading up for quarterback Malik Willis or Matt Corral? I don't know. I'll be honest. I haven't done much research on those guys. I'll say there are 2 guys that I've done some research on a little bit, and I'm going to continue to look on. But those are guys I'm going to be looking at because there are options for 2022, and this is like the 5th. We're on episode 14, and I think this is my 6th time that 6th time where I've referenced what the hell are we going to do in quarterback in 2022. But I'll get to that here in a moment, or here in a little bit, because I want to continue on with this game as well, because, and I'm calling out fans. I'm calling out fans of the Steelers. I see a lot of people. Yes, Chuck's did not play well. He's getting his head chopped off, and people are calling for his head pretty much, waiting for Zach Banner to come back. Because I've been saying it, and I'll say it again. But as of right now, Rudolph and Haskins aren't the future. And again, I'm not calling you two out. I'm not calling you two out because, but. And I halfway agree. Rudolph, no. Will is. You should start by pronouncing the future. Hey, screenshot that comment so then you can say into my face 25 years from now if that actually comes out true. But, I forgot what. Haskins, hell no. He ain't the future. But Haskins is a guy that I think part of his issue was he went to a system in Washington where he was not really wanted there. And it just kind of messed with his mental. And obviously he got a new opening here in Pittsburgh, and we really don't know what we have. Now, going back to what I was going to say about Chucks, or Chooks, whatever you want to call it. I see a lot of fans on Twitter saying, I could do a better job than that. So, whoever the hell you want to on Steeler Twitter can block better than that. Hell no, you can't. I understand that a lot of people, there are some people that I think that are legitimately serious about that. There are some people saying they're just trying to make a point at the fact that he's not playing well and he's playing terrible. I get that. But, I don't know. Fans are, like for me, you'll see me on Twitter sometimes. I'll break down stuff that I saw wrong with the offensive line. Like, there was that one video that, I think it was something Kabali from The Athletic. I forget his full name. He posted a video. It was 7 players for the Steelers blocking 4 linemen of the Raiders, and they didn't, and they couldn't get it done. And I kind of broke down what I saw there. Even for me as a guy that played offensive line, where, especially playing right tackle is hard. Tackle is hard. Today, we don't have a franchise QB. That could change, but as of right now, no. I do agree with that somewhat. Michael says, I'll judge the line more when Banner gets back. He won the starting job tackle last year and hoping that the extra 3 games will condition him well. What about trying to use our tight ends and Derek to help with the run game? It's worth a shot. I like that idea of trying out Derek Watt. See what happens. And here's my thing. And I'll bring this graphic back up again. You see that over the middle? You see those 2 circles that I'm talking about? That's where you should really be trying to aim for Eric Ebron, for Pat Freiermuth, for Zach Gentry, and those boys. That could be an area where you could really become dangerous, because now if you're in a situation where you look at this graphic again and you see a lot of quick throws to the right, quick throws to the left, if you can get people more over the middle, now that opens up the offense a little bit more, because at that point, I think part of the issue too with this offensive line in general, going back to that. And I think this was part of the issue last year down the stretch, is just the lack of physicality. And especially from some of those guys like Pouncey and DeCastro, it felt like that they were just kind of getting out-assed. Someone's trying to call me. Whoever's trying to call me, I will call you back later. But it's a situation of you need to be more physical. And that's a part. The game of football is won and lost in the trenches. I've always believed that. Ask people who know the game of football very well, they'll say the same thing. The game is won and lost in the line of scrimmage, in the trenches. D-Watt barely exists. Like, what's the point of having him, and if he's irrelevant in the game plan? Yes. Derek Watt, Captain Derek Watt, at that too. And it's interesting. Try it out. See what happens, because don't get me wrong, Najee Harris and Stone, I know you know this more than a lot of people because you are an Alabama fan. But Najee Harris, we all know, and we saw he can make an impact in the pass game as well. That's one of the reasons why a lot of people liked him, is the fact that he was able to make that kind of an impact in the passing game. I think all in all, this game, if you're going against Cincinnati in a division opponent, where this could be a game that I think you actually should win, and you need to win. I'm not going to say it's a must win in week 3. I think must win and really, really need to win, but not like a must win kind of situation, if you get what I mean. Like when he has physicality ever been an issue with the Steelers sucks. Exactly. We've been notorious and known for smash mouth football, for grounding and pounding. We're going to wear you down, and then we're going to bring in whoever the running back is at the time, and we're going to be able to go. Again, when we look at that 2017 offensive line, I fixed the expert pick, so don't worry. Appreciate that. But you look at the the 2017 offensive line, where they were out-assing damn near everyone. Big Al. Back when he was actually a good tackle. Ramon Foster. Marquise Pouncey, Hall of Fame center. David DeCastro, he was an all-pro. He was good. And then on top of that, you had Marcus Gilbert, and then when he wasn't playing, Chris Hubbard, who actually filled in pretty well at that right tackle spot. And then on top of that, Le'Veon Bell, where at that time he was the best running back in the NFL, arguably, and we all know that. But it shows that, and look at over the course of time, that 2018 season, where James Conner, hell, he made a Pro Bowl. And don't get me wrong, I love James Conner. But you look at that, and that's a very good comparison, and the fact that 2018, that offensive line was very physical, and they were able to do things, and boom, he was doing pretty damn well. 2019, that's kind of an year, and then 2020, you saw, was not good. He had a couple good games, but again, I think there's kind of a reason why he's not here. It's damn near a must, considering the upcoming schedule, 3 of the 4 games against the Packers, Seahawks, and Browns. It's so you have this game coming up. Yeah, I guess the Bengals, you're 3-point favorite at home. Then you got the Packers game. That's going to be a tough game, 425 game in Lambeau, where Aaron Rodgers looks like his old self again. Yes, I understand it's against Detroit, but still. And then you got Denver, Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater has looked good in Denver. Also, they're not going to have Bradley Chubb. I think they're not going to have Jerry Jeudy either out there for them. So that's something to watch out for as well. So you have a key guy on offense and on defense. And then you have Seattle. And then you got the bye week. And then you go up against Cleveland on Halloween night. If we don't win the game, we don't need to win the game, but if we want to win the game, we should. Basically, what I'm trying to say, I don't like necessarily saying the fact that there's a must-win game in September because there are a lot more games, but it's a game that you need. If you really want to because we've already seen that fans have already thrown this season out the window after one loss to a team that's 2-0 who just beat Baltimore, who just beat Kansas City, and then beat us. I mean, come on now. But here's a stat that I saw that I'm surprised no one has talked about. And I brought this up, I believe, on Monday or Tuesday. And I think for me it's concerning. And let me know, do you think that this stat is concerning? So the Steelers, the last 2 weeks against the Bills and the Raiders, have ran a total of 111 plays. The Bills and the Raiders have ran for a combined 143 plays against the Steelers. That is a minus 32 play differential. And that's not a recipe for success, especially for that defense. If you can get those drive, and that's why I think, too, time of possession is such a key factor. Because if I'm not mistaken, for this Raiders game, that we had. Let me pull this back up, because this was something that was kind of alarming. Team stats. Here we go. If this will load for me. All right, here we go. Time of possession. Las Vegas, 34 minutes and 22 seconds to 25:38. So some people, that's 5 minutes. That's not much. And football time, that's a lot. And that's something that you can't continue to have happen, where they outplayed, or they had, 8 more plays than you. That, I mean, it's whatever. But I think overall, you have to. The offense is not putting the defense in a situation to succeed, and I think that's part of what we saw over the course of last year down the stretch when we lost to Washington. And yes, part of it was the NFL screwing us with having our bye week real early and then going on for the rest of the year and then having to play, 3 games in 10 or 11 days. That was ridiculous. But I think overall down the stretch, the offense did not do the defense much, didn't give them much help. And the fact that the time of possession wasn't there, the amount of plays that they were running, and that defense was always out there, and they got gassed. They really got gassed. That's something that's concerning. And that's something that over the course of 2 games, you're slowly starting to see already. And again, it's early. Things can change. Who knows? I might get proven wrong, and Ben Roethlisberger comes out on Sunday, just starts slinging the rocket, looking like 2008 stuff. Do I think it's going to happen? No. But I could get proven wrong. We got to get our defensive starters back. Let the offensive line work out the kinks and survive rather than do it. And here's the thing, too. Going back to what you just said is, and kind of a point that we've made before on multiple shows, is the team typically will get fired up in December, and that's when they start to get hot. But for the last few years, it's been the complete opposite. 2018, that did not work out well for you, and then you missed the playoffs. 2019, you had a chance. You were 8-5 at one point in time. You dropped the last 3. And then although even if we did make the playoffs, I think we would have played Kansas City that year. We would have got throttled. But regardless, still, the fact that you lost 3 straight at the end of the season in December. And then last year, we saw what happened. That's not a stretch that you like. And who knows? I would like for that to change. I would rather, if we're struggling now in the month of September, and then slowly October, November, and then December when we start to get hot, that obviously that's a big key for success. It's like baseball where you can look at the Nationals team in 2019 where they were abysmal at the beginning of the year, and then they got hot at the right time, and then they won the World Series. But this is obviously not baseball. And yes, it didn't help at the fact that we lost. I named off at the beginning of the show 5 starters on defense that were out. During that game against the Raiders. So looking at the injury report today, in terms of defense, Watt was he was limited with the groin. Devin Bush was a full go with the groin, so that's good news. Joe Hayden was full go with the groin, and then Alex Highsmith, he did not practice with the groin as well. That's a little interesting. It's something to watch out for. Obviously, Deontay Johnson did not practice, and then Ben was limited. I figured he was going to be limited. He's going to be limited all week. The entire momentum changed after TJ got hurt. Yes, and you saw that when TJ came out of the game. The pass rush wasn't there as much, and I think part of it again is the fact that you had a lot of guys that. There's some guys on this defense that are still very that are very good pieces to come in that rotation. But if you deny that, then you're delusional. Oh yeah, I agree with that 100%. That the momentum changed too, and it shows just how much T.J. Watt means. And I actually had a comparison. I was told a comparison, or something was told to me by a Browns fan, and it was actually interesting. And you'll like what I'm about to say, because I know I just mentioned them, is Myles Garrett where the hell has he been at? And I got told by a Browns fan as he was watching the Browns game, saying, where the hell is 95? Number 90 for the Pittsburgh Steelers have been everywhere. When he's out on the field, he's doing a bunch of stuff. He's strip sacks and all that. And it shows that, yeah, T.J. Watt makes a huge, huge impact on this team, on this defense. Because that's where it's a situation of teams are going to really focus on you. And then on top of that, you trust guys like Cam Hayward and Alex Highsmith and even Melvin Ingram to go out there and make plays when they might have single blocks on them. He's doing work. Marcus says, for sure, they got gassed. Melvin's a beast, but don't need a heavy amount of snaps. And that's one thing, too, that I love about the signing of Melvin Ingram is when those 3 are healthy, it's good that the fact that you could take TJ out for a drive. If he needs a breather for a drive, you can trust Melvin Ingram to step in and be that guy. And then Alex Highsmith, he's the guy that's continuing to grow and grow and grow. Now, again, too, we talked about the run game earlier, and we talked about a lot of stuff. And let me put this transition. Let me get back to my full self. Melvin is a dope rotational guy. Yeah, love Melvin Ingram. Najee Harris only run the ball 10 times. He had 10 rushes, 38 yards, 3.8 yards per carry. I think maybe that's part of the reason why we're playing from behind, it seems like a lot. Because of the fact that you're giving up already. And I think it's a mixture of both. You have to give up on the run game because you're playing behind, or is it you're getting behind too because you're just giving up on the run game, and then the offense becomes, once again, the definition of one-dimensional. It's hard. Because, again, and that brings into something going into the offseason is, what do you do? Because if this continues on throughout the year with the offensive line, and I get it's still they're very young. You have two rookies? Yeah, two rookies, and then you have and then you got Kevin Dotson, who is in his second year, and then you got Trey Turner and Chucks. I want Muth to get the ball more. Be mad at the offensive line all you want, but you can't deny the connection with him and Ben have. Yes, I love when they made that pick, because I was there. I was in Cleveland for that, and I actually have video of when they drafted Pat Freiermuth. I'm kind of like, okay, interesting. I wasn't mad. I wasn't like throwing my hat down pissed, but I was I questioned it for a minute. I'm like, I'm not going to get too mad at it. I'm like, let me see what happens with him. So far, he's looked good. I like him. Marcus is reading my mind right now. Insert spider gif emoji. I want to see more toughness out of the offense and go to Muth and insert Derek Watt more in the run game. Yeah, I think that's part of it. If you can out-ass, if you oppose their will against, however the hell, if you oppose against their will, however the hell you say that saying, basically, if you can out-ass your opponent, push him off the line of scrimmage, gain positive leverage on the defensive line, that's going to be huge. Because look at the teams that have the best run game in the NFL, outside of Baltimore, because they just that's all they do, and Lamar Jackson is just ridiculous. But still, the hell with Lamar Jackson. But you look at the teams that are very good offensively, just in general, have great offensive lines. And I understand, I keep on going back to that. And I think, again, it's just part of it is just frustrating at the fact that we're in a situation where we kind of need this offensive line to gel, and just it's not going to happen right away. We get it. It's hard. We're begging and pleading for it to happen, but it's just Now, here's a topic that I put a poll on the Renegade Roundtable Twitter at Renegade_table. I made a poll, and I was interested in how people would respond. And what I mean by that is, I asked a hypothetical question. I said, if there was a possibility, would you want the Steelers to go and trade for Jimmy Garoppolo? And 56% of the people say no, most of it because he was going to get killed by this offensive line. And one of it, too, is the fact that, and I mentioned Jimmy Garoppolo is the second lowest, he has the second lowest pressure rate at 11.7 because they have a very good offensive line. That team is very physical as well. What do you think it would cost to get Jimmy G? I don't know. And that's something that I'm wondering, because I'm not giving up a first round pick for him. I'm not. I saw a comment too. Where was it? Not during this season, but if we had to give up, now he said a 2023 fourth round pick for him. Don't get me wrong. First off, no, you're going to have to give up something in the 2022 and possibly 2023 just because it's a quarterback. And Jimmy Garoppolo too. He's making $20-something million a year. I would have to look up that contract. Someone let me know what is his annual cash per year or annual rate per year. Fourth rounder. You think a third would get him? Possibly. It all depends on how much they try. If Trey Lance becomes their guy there, which I think over time that's what they're waiting on. The fact that y'all think that he's that good, Stone, the Stone has left the chat. It's not the fact that I think he's that good, but I think he's a way better player than any of the quarterbacks that we've talked about right now. He's a guy that he went to a Super Bowl. Yes, tell me what you want. They had a great defense or whatever, blah, blah, blah. The offense that he took that he was on when they went to the Super Bowl is not as good as the offense that Pittsburgh has now if you trade Jimmy Garoppolo or if you trade Ben Roethlisberger for Jimmy Garoppolo. Because Jimmy Garoppolo, at least I think you could trust him more to throw the football, and I think they would be more willing to throw the football downfield. And even look at the stats that he has this year. 2-0, completing damn near 71% of his passes. Very accurate. Damn near 10 yards per attempt. 2 touchdowns. He only has 2 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. Take that however you want. 503 yards. He's a guy that he's like the definition of a game manager. And that's something that people love to dog game managers, and I don't get why. Game managers are... Hell, for most of his career, Tom Brady was a game manager, and you saw what the hell he's done in his career. Won 7 damn Super Bowls. Troy Aikman, he was considered a game manager. And you saw what the hell he is. He's in Hall of Fame. He's in Canton. Jimmy ain't great, but he's definitely serviceable, and he's better than Ben right now. They want to give up a fourth or even a third. He's a quarterback. It wouldn't be that easy. And yes, and if they're asking for too much, then hell no. But it was an option. Now, Hunter earlier mentioned the possibility of Aaron Rodgers. No, I'm staying away from that. Because at the fact that he's, 36 or something, something weird just tells me that, I don't know. I have a fuzzy feeling about Aaron Rodgers, and no. There's a couple guys that I've been looking at possibly. One of them is Sam Howell from UNC as well, where he's gotten. I actually saw one pro comp for him was Baker, which was actually kind of weird and interesting. But Sam Howell is a guy that. So far this year, he's 867 yards, 9 touchdowns, 4 picks. He has a QBR of basically 81. He's a guy that would be interesting to see. And Kevin Colbert already went out to UNC to go, and we're all speculating that it's about him. Should have went after Darnold. Yeah, Teddy Bridgewater. That's a guy I thought about too. Teddy has put up more fantasy football points than Josh Allen. Hey, Teddy Bridgewater, that was a guy I've thought about too. If Teddy Bridgewater can go, if he became available, I would be very happy to get Teddy Bridgewater as my quarterback. Because again, what's the first part of his name too? Bridge. He could be a great bridge guy until there's a guy in the draft that they really like. Or hell, if he becomes that good, he's not that old. He's really not that old. How much I'm looking up how much or how old Teddy Bridgewater is because I don't know. I know he's not that old. He's 28. Okay, I could deal with that. Howell is going to be top 10. Yeah, that's something that I'm. What did I do? Howell's going top 10. Here's my question too. And this is something I've thought about. This is a quarterback class that's not the greatest from what we anticipate. Also, let's look at the teams that would most likely be in the top 10 that would they need a quarterback. Jacksonville, no. They just drafted Trevor Lawrence. The Jets, most likely no, because I think they're going to really try to give Zach Wilson a shot. I think an interesting team to watch out for is Atlanta. That was a team earlier this year. I said there was a possibility they could have went out and got a quarterback. They went out and got Kyle Pitts. I think Atlanta's the situation. That's an interesting place to watch out for. Detroit, maybe. Although it all depends on how Jared Goff continues to plays there. The Texans, there you go. There might be a team depending on what happens with Deshaun Watson. And it just keeps on going. I think we're in a situation now where there's not that many teams that really need like a quarterback that's going to go out first round and draft a quarterback. Atlanta, yeah, Detroit, Denver all need quarterbacks. Denver, if Teddy Bridgewater really goes out there and plays well, they might stick with him for a little bit. Washington needs a QB. Yeah, because I don't think Taylor Heinicke is the guy. Yes, everyone loves Taylor Heinicke. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. But and who knows? Maybe he ends up being the guy. I don't think so. I think they're going to go out and get a quarterback. They tried with Dwayne Haskins. Didn't work out, obviously. Deshaun Watson, depending on what happens with him. We still don't know what the hell's going to go on with him as Houston's getting ready to play in about an hour and a half, 2 hours. My yearly salary is chicky nugs. Well, Stone, if you could go out and play quarterback, I will personally pay you in a bunch of chicky nugs. But it's those are all questions that you have to look at. Another guy that is interesting as well is Carson Strong from Nevada. What about Desmond Ridder from Cincinnati? Those are all guys to continue to watch out for, and it's early. But we like to have fun, and especially for me, I love doing research on the draft, and over the course of time, I'm gonna continue to do more and more research on those guys. Miami needs a quarterback. Miami, yeah, it's Tua is tank for Tua is not doing so well. But now, before we get off here, because I got 8 minutes, I want to preview this Week 3 game for the Bengals and Steelers. Couple key injuries for Cincinnati as well. T. Higgins, he did not practice today with a shoulder injury. Their right guard with a knee injury did not practice today either. Trey Waynes, their number one corner, was limited in practice with a hamstring injury, and also Larry Ogunjobi, a defensive tackle for them with a groin, was limited as well. So those are a couple key injuries that to watch out for Cincinnati. New poll: would you rather have Stone as your quarterback or Andy Dalton? Yeah, I will definitely take Stone over Andy Dalton. I don't want that redheaded guy. But I will actually make, if Stone, you have the Twitter, go actually make that poll and we'll see what happens with it. But keys to this game for Sunday is you're going to have to get pressure on Joe Burrow. That offensive line is still not good for Cincinnati. And then look at it this way. He was 19 of 30, 2 touchdowns, and 3 straight interceptions on 3 straight plays. Huh. Also, yes, although that's not a compliment. Sure it is. Andy Dalton's went to the playoffs. I mean, at one point in time, he was a decently good quarterback. So, I'll take it as a compliment for you. How about that? But I think for me too is seeing what Chicago's defense was able to do against Joe Burrow, and look at some guys that I'm about to mention for Chicago that they have: Akeem Hicks, Khalil Mack, Robert Quinn, Eddie Jackson. Those are all good guys, and they were all able to get to the quarterback against Cincinnati. And then again, look at who we have on defense: T.J. Watt. Possibly Alex Highsmith, depending on if he's able to play. Melvin Ingram, Cam Hayward, and then I mentioned the safety for the Bears. I'll mention the safety for us, Minka Fitzpatrick. I think Burrow, if you can get pressure on him, which you should be able to, I think it's going to be a long day for Joe Burrow. One thing that I do think we need, Stone would be a gunslinger. You're damn right she would be. One thing that I'm interested in is the Jamar Chase, Joe Burrow connection. They've looked pretty good through 2 weeks after Jamar Chase figured out how to catch an NFL football. I think that's something to watch out for. I also think that here's some stats too about the offensive line and Joe Burrow for that offense. In week 2 against Cincinnati or against Chicago, they gave up 4 sacks and 9 QB hits. And then overall throughout the season, through 2 games, they've given up 9 sacks and 16 quarterback hits. You need to if you could get pressure on Joe Burrow, I think you'll be fine. Now, one thing that I'm also going to be watching out for is Trey Hendrickson on Cincinnati's side, going up against this offensive. Going up against this offensive line. I like Joe, but he's getting beat up. Yeah, I mean, obviously, it's crazy how Joe Burrow plays in the AFC North, and every single person that's in this comment in the comments right now are fans of teams in the AFC North. But I think all of us like Joe Burrow because it's like, how can you hate Joe Burrow? I think that's my thing. How the hell do you hate Joe Burrow? And if you do hate Joe Burrow, well, then you're probably just a miserable human being. How about that? But yeah, get pressure on the quarterback, and then I think if you could contain Trey Hendrickson, and then also Mike Hilton, he's going up against his former team as well. Possibly Trey Waynes is good. We don't know what's going to happen with him. He was limited again today with the hammy. And then you got Jesse Bates, one of the better safeties there for Cincinnati as well. As we all saw in the preview or whatever that the NFL YouTube channel does, they all had Pittsburgh winning. Stone did change that for changed that up for us. So appreciate you for that. So Stone says, Mike, why are you playing me like that? I want to be friends with Joe. Talent, sure, still don't like him. And real quick too, it still rubs me the wrong way with how people are talking about Mike Hilton and with him signing with Cincinnati. Yeah, it sucked losing him. Yeah, it even sucked even more that he went to a team in the division. But he did what was right. We don't know what happened behind the scenes. We don't know if he was even offered a contract for Pittsburgh. We don't know. He did what was best for him and his family. Congratulations, you were able to. He did what was best for his family. Congratulations to you and all your success and for your family. And yeah, I won't like you for 2 games out of the year, but I'm not gonna wish will on him or anything like that. But yeah, it does suck that he does play for a rival team. But I've been talking for a lot. Holy hell. But until then, I do say thank you everyone for tuning in. Hopefully we'll have everyone back next week, or Stone should be back next week. Caleb, we're going to figure out what's going on, or, we'll figure out with his work schedule and stuff. It is what it is. Again, it's, adulting. Again, Stone, go and, you fix the graphic where everyone has Cincinnati won. Appreciate that. Again, if you haven't yet, shameless plug for her. If you haven't yet, go and get yourself a copy of Divine Discovery. It's going to be a great read. And she's doing an autograph signing this weekend, so congratulations to you. I'm very proud of you for that, and you definitely deserve it. I know you worked really hard for that. But until then, hope to see you guys again next week. Again, thank you for those who actually did go and watch the reaction video I did for the Steelers-Raiders game. That actually did pretty well, so if you want more of those, I'll continue to do more of those. I did also a Troy Polamalu highlights reaction. I just wanted to kind of see how it does, but I will continue to do more of those if you guys do want them. I'll be back. Got to go and make some money. Hey, go and do you got to do what you got to do. I appreciate that. I respect the grind. Till then, y'all have a great weekend. Stay safe. Drink your water. And peace out.